Hello folks, Chuck here with Hillbilly Half Acre Homestead. I just wanted to make a quick video showing the new chick brooder in use. You know, the videos that you just recently saw posted about making the chick brooder, that was actually done about 3 days before Christmas. Okay, that video had been well, I should have gotten it posted a lot sooner and edited and what have you a lot sooner than what I did. So unfortunately, we have the chick brooder in use, but since that video that you just watched was made, this has had about 30 or 40 chicken chicks to go through it, and we have to say it's done very well. We're very happy with it. This has got, this is hay or straw, whatever you want to call it. This is alfalfa stems, actually. Well, there's actually some leaves in there as well, but the quail will eat that. So these are 6 little Coturnix quail. They're about, there's actually two different ages here. 3 of them are a little bit older than the smaller 3. They are, the bigger ones are between 2 and 3 weeks old, I think. Because they'll be fully feathered at 3 weeks old, and as you can see, like this big white one here, it's really the only thing left is feathering on its head. See, it's still got down on its head. The fawn back there, look at its head, it's already got feathers on its head. That one right there is getting feathers on its head. See how the colors are coming through? Yeah, sometimes the quail, have you heard the old saying, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence? Well, evidently this little quail right here thinks that the food tastes better if you eat it on the other side after you crawl through the hole. Anyway, they're interesting little creatures. We've got one back there with a hurt leg. Unfortunately, the little rascal, just to let you know, if you're going to put quail in here, 3 of those should have been just a tad bit bigger when I put them in here, but we had them in a little 10-gallon aquarium tank, and in an aquarium tank I don't think they get enough ventilation, and they were crowded, and I don't like to see that, so I went ahead and put them over here. Unfortunately, one of them got through the 1x2 wire. He thought it would be cute to go exploring, and I'm not sure. She's usually pretty gentle with the little birds, but I'm not sure. I think one of the dogs may have picked up that one right there, that fawn one. If you can see it, it's walking with a little bit of limp, so it has a hurt leg. It seems to be okay. It's getting better. I don't think it's broken, but it is limping on it. You'll see it hopping around. Had someone asking about the feeder. This is the feeder that we're using right now. Now this is I'm not going to pull this. Excuse me, I know I'm in the way. This thing is nasty, but one of these old quart jar, you know, the old inverted quart jar waters, little plastic thing. I think you can get these like for $1.99 or something at Tractor Supply, something like that. And you can supply your own jar, or they have a plastic size quart jar that you can get on here. I think it's like maybe another couple of bucks, so you can get the whole water jar and all for like $4 at Tractor Supply, something like that. But the ones at Tractor Supply will sell you to go with these bases are plastic. Actually, I think those were like $1.79. I don't know. But we've got plenty of quart jars. We just use those. Not to mention the quart jars are easier when they get nasty like that. Periodically, you know, we'll put them in some bleach water or something. Let them soak, and then we'll run them through the sanitizing cycle in the dishwasher, and then they're nice and sterilized and what have you, and ready to go back into service. But we've got one of those waterers. Let me see the screen here. Yeah, we've got one of those waterers sitting right there in the corner. Okay, now just because there's 6 quail in here, we have the one jar. This right here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That feeder is big enough for almost 30 chicks, actually, you know, or something like that. But we just leave it in there. We don't have to fill it as often with just the 6 quail, but we had like, you know, 20 something chicks in here at a time, and there was plenty of room on this 2-foot feeder for them to eat, and it held enough that it only needed to be filled about once a day. Occasionally it would need an extra filling, you know, so it might not have been lasting a whole day, maybe 18 or 20 hours or whatever, but that's fine. That's, you know, that's more than enough. But for these guys, that feed right there will last, you know, 3 or 4 days or more. But if you're going to use something similar to this and you're going to use it for quail, just use 1/2-inch hardware cloth, or you can use even smaller, but 1/2-inch hardware cloth, or it's cheaper even than this wire. It's not quite as strong, but the only thing that we put up here, you'll see, there's a broom hanging leaning up here, but the only thing we put up here is this light, and it's not real heavy. It would, if this was on hardware cloth, it would be just fine. It would work just fine, great, fine and dandy, and so on and so forth. If you're putting anything else in here, the wire that we've used is okay, but quail will be a little small. They can go through these openings, and luckily when these quail came out, they came out during the day when the cats were outside. Otherwise, the little quail with the hurt leg would be cat food by now. But so we out of there, decided to go exploring during the day while the cats were outside. Have 6 quail instead of 5. That's what we have, but we're hoping these guys will, we don't know what we've got here, male, female, so on and so forth. It really doesn't matter if we've got 1 male and 1 female at least, which we're pretty sure they're not all males or all females. I mean, that would kind of be really losing, you know, as far as the odd game is going. So if we've got at least 1 female in there, that will give us eggs to hatch and continue to expand the flock. All of the stock that we had in the outside cages, all the quail that we had in the outside cages that we've showed in the couple of quail videos that we've had so far, those are all gone now. Quail, these quail at least, I don't know about other quail. This is the only thing that I've raised so far. This is the only thing I know anything about. I just, they have a fairly short lifespan. I have seen it online where it is said that Coturnix quail can live to be 2 to 2.5 years old. But you know that there's a commercial that goes around on TV that says, you know, talks about, you know, you can't put anything on the internet that isn't true. Well, the only place that you hear that naturally is on the internet. So I don't believe that. I've never gotten these guys to live much past a year, and after the eggs that these guys came from were laid, they just seemed to just go, just within a month they were all gone, and they were right at a year old. And that's usually the way it goes for us with the quail. About a year, sometimes 14 or 15 months, but usually right at a year, and they'll, from the time we hatch them, and they'll be gone. The idea is you get eggs from this year's stock to keep replenishing and rotating out your breeding stock, so you never have any that get that old. Okay, well, you know, folks, bear in mind that, you know, I said I don't believe that. That doesn't mean it isn't true. I'm just saying that. I'm just telling you what's happened with us. I'm gonna move that light over a little bit. There's no need for the light to be over the feed pan. We've got the wood stove going. It's nice and warm in here. They don't even need the light. Quail, baby quail, are very, very hardy and what have you compared to chickens. You know, it just about takes an act of Congress to get chickens to live. Chicks, you know, it seems like it just any little thing and you know, you'll lose chicks if you, I mean, if you don't stay on top of it when you're breeding those guys. It seems like just any little thing can cause you to lose some. With these quail, they are very hardy and strong. They're kind of like if you've raised ducks. Ducks are a very strong bird. Even baby ducks, they're very hardy and resistant to you know, any diseases that might be floating around. The ventilation in this brooder, I love it. This bedding, and I think she just changed the bedding here yesterday, I think it was. And before that, the bedding that was in here that needed to be removed and changed. One thing that I noticed having it in here is even when we had like 20-something chicks in here and they're all using the bathroom in here, it would dry out very fast. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that these are in the room where our wood stove is. Wood stove burns the humidity out of the air inside the house, so we have a fairly low humidity inside the house anyway, even though we keep a pan of water sitting on the stove. Now, that, along with the unlimited, basically, ventilation of this brooder, kept that manure inside here dry, and it helped it dry out very quickly. And so what happened is even in a case where you have manure and it's piling up over a period of time in between cleanings, if it dries, it's a lot better than if, say, if it's not dry. If it stays moist and squishy and nasty and everything, well, that extra moisture in it helps disease grow. You know, it's and also another thing is, folks, be careful when you're breeding these guys and whatever kind of bedding you're using for them. Be careful with your water. If you don't set those things, if you're using this kind of water and you don't set them level, you tilt them over a little bit, and you can set them down to where air can continuously go up into that jar, and the water will continuously leak out until the jar is empty, and that all gets all up into your bedding, makes it all nasty, and that is a recipe for disaster as far as, you know, disease resistance. You're helping the disease if you're bedding and the inside of your brooders are wet. That's the same. It's the same anywhere though. It's the same in a chicken coop. If it's not got enough ventilation and you can't keep it dry, it's not, you know, you're more likely to have disease problems. Pigeon loft, keep them dry, you know, and ventilation is a big key to that, because ventilation is what carries the moisture out as this stuff dries. And but anyway, this is the brooder. It's all done up. You know, this is a 100-watt bulb in here now, but that's just because the last time I bought a box of incandescent bulbs, we use the LEDs or the little CFL bulbs in the house, but we keep some of these around for the brooder lights. And the last box of 4 that I bought, I grabbed 100-watt instead of usually 60 or 75 watt is what we use. Most usually we use the 60 watt. The last box that I bought though, I bought 100 watt, and I thought I was picking up 60 watt, but evidently somebody had moved a box of 100 watt over into that spot, and I didn't look at the box. I just looked at what else was there, and I grabbed the wrong one. No big deal. It works just fine. It uses a little bit more electric, puts out a little bit more heat. It's putting out way more heat than these guys need anyway. In here with the wood stove going and what have you, these guys are old enough, they don't need any heat anyway. And but the quail are, some folks had asked about an update on the quail. These 6 little guys, these are the only quail that we have left. And we're hoping that they will become breeding stock. I am hoping to order some fertile hatching eggs from somewhere. If anybody's watching this out there and you've got you want to cut me a good deal on maybe a 100, 150, 200 fertile hatching eggs, let me know. We're looking just any time to come up with some fertile hatching eggs for quail to put in the incubator, just to kind of get a head start on the year. I'd like to have at least 100. You know, depending on price, naturally. Yeah, you can, but you can contact me at Hillbilly Homestead at outlook.com if you have any fertile hatching eggs and be interested in cutting me a deal on, say, 100 to 200 depending on the price. Been looking on eBay. I might go that route if nobody contacts me right away. I'd rather throw a little business to some of my viewers, though. If any of you guys out there have some, you know, that's why I'm putting this in this video. I'll find some hatching eggs regardless, but if any of you viewers out there have got some, I'd rather do business with you. So just keep that in mind, or if you know somebody that has some, you might have them to shoot me an email, let me know what they got, and we can get together and see if we can't get some business done. Incubator's empty right now. It's empty. There's not an egg in it. All the chicks are hatched. I think we ended up with, I don't know, 30, 40, something like that we're raising for our own. They're all outside now. Anyway, if you have any more questions or anything about the quail, about the brooder, somebody asked, you know, somebody was asking about the feeder in the water. I answered that in a comment, but I thought, you know, heck, I'll just show it. Later on, I'm going to make a door right up here across the top. I don't know how anyway, I can't see. Yeah, that's okay. One of these days I'm going to invest in one of them high-tech cameras I can hook a monitor to so I can see what I'm doing without having to look behind the camera. I'm going to put a door, I think probably maybe that size, but I'm going to make it go from, like, you know, almost completely from one side to the other and make it to where it'll flip over. And what I did was I even had my wife Diana and my daughter Becca yesterday, I had them to try, and they can raise this up and reach all the way to the back. Just lifting this up and putting their hands under the wire, they can reach all the way to the back if they need to catch a chick in there. So if I put a door right here and it'll flip open, they can put their hand down in there and reach all the way anywhere inside this brooder if they need to catch chicks. Okay, of course I'm not going to fasten the top down. There's no need. So in any case, anytime it's needed, the wire can just, see, this just lifts up. See, it's not fastened down in any way. Now later on, I'm thinking about also maybe experimenting, trying to do a little fabrication with automatic watering. And I actually would like to have the feeder and the waterer both somehow, some kind of a solution formed to do feeding and watering outside this area. That way when I have chicks in here, see how much floor space that takes up? And this right here takes up a little bit too. That right there is probably enough for 10 chicks. This right here is probably enough for 4 or 5 where the water is sitting. So if we have that on the outside, where I'm saying you could raise about 50 chicks in this probably until up to age of 3 to 4 weeks. You know, I'm talking chickens now. You might could jump that to 60 if the food and the water was kept outside and not taking up floor space like they are now. Okay, so I may or may not make a video on that. If you're interested in seeing something like that, if I start to experiment with this a little bit, you know, let me know in the comments and what have you. Sometimes sometimes I get to doing something and I don't bother filming anything. But if I think you guys are interested in watching it, I'll try to make it a point to put a video on. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comment. And these little guys, I'm bugging them. 3, 4 of them are over there. They're going to try to go back to sleep. So we're going to get off here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope this little bit of information helps someone. Hope it's not too boring. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You know, that way you'll get a notification anytime we put up something new. If you want to see future videos, that's the best way. So y'all have a great day and God bless.